Welcome back. Mrs. Bada here, and today I am going to quickly show you the answer key. I will post this answer key in Classroom as well, but I'm going to quickly go over a couple and walk you through slowly some of them. So, number one, we did one exactly like this in class, so that should be pretty straightforward. For number two, what I want to do is point out all of the important pieces of your box plot. This is asking you for the third quartile, which is right here. And so here are all the pieces of our box and whisker. This is the minimum, the lowest point, first quartile, first 25%, second quartile, or the median, or the first 50%, the third quartile right here, the 75% of the data, and the maximum value right here. So the third quartile lies at 90. Okay, so what we have to do here, this is a common multiple choice question where you're given two sets of data and you're asked to compare some things about them. If you look ahead at the questions, what they're looking for, we've got to find the mean of both and the standard deviation of both. If you need more help in how to find this information on your calculator, you are going to want to go back to yesterday's homework assignment from 9:26 and watch the video of how to do this on your calculator. But I also included the steps here. So to enter your information into your list, it's Stat, Edit is on the first screen, and Choice 1, Edit. And then it's going to bring you to your lists. Most likely you will have information in your lists. To clear that information, you arrow up to the name of the list and hit Clear and then Enter. And then type your data values in. No need to put them in order when you're using your calculator. Once you've got your data in L1 and L2, we need to use Stat Calc to get the information we're looking for. So, here are our steps here. Stat, arrow over to Calc. Choose one for one variable stats. You're going to have to do this twice. First, you want to use L1. So you want to make sure it says L1 on that screen where it says the list. If it does, hit Enter, Enter, Enter. Your mean is your X bar. Population standard deviation is sigma X. And then you scroll down to find your other pieces of information. And of course, the important piece of information on the next page is going to be to find the third and the first quartiles so you could calculate your interquartile range if you need to. We don't need that for this problem. For this problem, all we need are the mean and the population standard deviation. When we do that, here's what we get. For our Team A, I got a mean of 6 and a population standard deviation of 3.2. And for Team B, I got a mean of 8.75 and a population standard deviation of 3.1. So, we want to look for the appropriate answers. And it looks like to us, if we're looking at the mean, Team A is less than Team B, here and here. And if we're looking at the standard deviation, Team A is greater than Team B, which is represented here. So our answer is Choice 1. That was a little too thick there. Okay, getting carried away here, people. All right. Next page, I just want to quickly remind you, simplifying radicals. We need our perfect squares in order to do that. You want to take your radical and always break it down. If it's not a perfect square underneath there, we break it down into a perfect square that divides into it, and then the non-perfect square that also divides into it. And so for 45, the perfect square we use is 9. We always choose the largest. That's also the only one here. And then we take the square root of 9 and we get 3. We keep our radical 5. I will do this one with you. B. I'm going to bring down my negative 3. I can't do anything with it till I have another number outside that radical. And it's 3 times and now 24. I'm going to break that up into 4 and 6. Radical 4 and radical 6. Bring down your negative 3 again. The square root of 4 is 2. And negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. So we get negative 6 radical 6 as our answer there. All right, now rational versus irrational. We haven't talked about this in a couple days or so. So for each of them, I'll take a minute to go over it. A, square root of 4. 4 is a perfect square. Square root of 4 equals 2. Therefore, it is rational. B, pi over 2. It is irrational. Any expression containing pi is irrational. C, radical 14 is irrational because it is the square root of a non-perfect square. And D, 1/3 is rational because fractions are rational. Number 6, Franz surveyed 15 students in his class to determine how many pets each had in their households. They want us to find the mean and the population standard deviation. So again, your X bar and your sigma X. Your steps to that are with problem number 3 on the page before. What I want to make sure you do here is you take into account the frequency. When you're entering your data into your list here, this means that 5 students had 0 pets. So you need to record 0 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 3 students recorded having 1 pet. 1, 2, 3. 3 ones. 4 had 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 twos, and so on. Keep going. Don't forget about those guys. When you do that, you get a mean of 1.4 and a standard deviation of 1.2. What does that mean? It means the average number of pets was 1.4, and that each student's number of pets was on average 1.2 away from 1.4. Here we have another group of data, another set of data. This is heights of students. It is not in order. If you are going to do this by hand, you want to order your numbers. If you're doing it on your calculator, it is not necessary. And again, the steps are the same. Stat edit, stat calc. So our mean X bar, rounded to the nearest tenth, is 64.4. Your median's on the next page, 62.5. Your mode is what appears the most, and there are 2 numbers that appear equally the most. 60 appears twice, and so does 61. So the mode is 60 and 61. Okay, and the range is the max minus the min, so that here is 79 minus 59, which gives us 20. The IQR is Q3 minus Q1, which is 66 minus 60.5, which is 5.5. And the population standard deviation, the sigma X, is 5.6. That's it. Come prepared with questions tomorrow. Have a great day and night.